Got my Vampire Diaries DVDs right here. One random copy of Unreal, which I'll get to in a second right over here. Got my bookshelf lights right here, and got my notes right here. It is time to do what we've been waiting a couple months for like 5 to 6. I can't remember. It's been since May. It is time to review the last first episode of the Vampire Diaries. That's right, Vampire Diaries Season 8, Episode 1 aired last night. I just got done watching the episode about 2 or 3 hours ago. I've let it process in my mind now. I watched Crazy Ex-Girlfriend after it, so I'll have a review for Crazy Ex-Girlfriend up after this one. So I'll be doing double reviewing today. Just like every other Saturday, my Saturdays are now going to be double review day. Mostly because I can't watch Vampire Diaries until midnight since I don't have cable. And I can't watch it on Hulu anymore because Hulu took it down for whatever reason. So I have to watch it on the CW, which doesn't air until midnight. So I'm pumped up. I can't wait to review this for you guys. It is the last season, guys, of one of my favorite TV shows ever. And I'm super excited to do this review. Could the episode have gone better? Yes. Did it have a few interesting things in it? It did. And it had a major throwback, one of which people might not actually notice that it has, as unless you're a diehard fan of the Vampire Diaries like I am, or you've just read Julia Pleck's interview about where she got inspiration for this thing to happen in the final season, which I'll get to in a moment. But be warned, this is a spoiler review for Vampire Diaries Season 8, Episode 1. So if you've not seen the episode, I would go watch it, come back, and we could discuss this together in the comment section below, because I'd like to know everyone's thoughts about the Vampire Diaries, as well as my own, because I know there's a lot of people who have different opinions, and I like different opinions. Also, I'm also rocking my Walking Dead shirt, and Walking Dead is also premiering. I believe it's either the 26th or the 29th of October. So hands up to that. October is a really good season to be watching TV. So let's get started. I've got my nostalgia right here, as well as my bookshelves, as well as my fancy Halloween lights that I got. And I'm very energetic because I just had eggnog, and eggnog's my favorite fall drink ever to have. But we'll get started. Okay, so I call this episode like one of the ultimate throwback episodes. It had a lot of throwbacks in it, and I think it's gonna be consistent through the season. I did have a little bit of trouble with the throwbacks, and I'll explain why later in this review. But one of the throwbacks that we had was a car scene in the beginning, and if you haven't watched the first episode or don't remember the first episode, the very first scene in the Vampire Diaries is a car scene where they run over Damon and are freaking out that he's dead, yada yada, and they threw back to that part, except now it was Enzo who got ran over, and Damon was the one who did the hunting, and then we have a plot for this new season. So I thought that was an interesting throwback. One thing I disliked about this episode is how they're portraying Damon and Enzo being evil. I call this evil the Dexter complex. complex because it's just like the show Dexter. Damon and Enzo are killing people, but they are people. People who have done bad things in the past. So it's not like they're not killing people who haven't done bad things. Doesn't make them great people, but it reminds me of Dexter, and it makes me not ticked off per se, but you can honestly tell Julie Plec has watched some Dexter. Honestly, because that's like the major plot of Dexter is a killer that kills killers. So, Damon and Enzo do this little game with the two people that they got in the car crash with. One is a girl who has not cheated per se, but has slept with her best friend's husband, fiance, boyfriend, I can't remember what he was exactly, about 18 times, and does not regret a single moment that she did it. And then the second guy, you think, oh, well, he just sells pills. Obviously, the other girl's worse. But apparently, he steals these pills from his mother who had cancer and sells them for $50 a pop. And it's, these people have done really bad things. So, of course, Damon and Enzo have to pick the one that has done the most horrible thing and killed him slowly, while the other one still dies, but dies kind of painlessly. So they choose a girl to die painlessly, and they choose the guy to feed our new creature. Now, it didn't say its name in this episode, but from interviews with Julie Plec, the creature's name is Sybil. That's what they're going with this new villain. The villain's name is Sybil. We'll get to what Sybil is in a moment, because what Sybil is really bothered me a little bit. Sure, it was an interesting direction to go in. I didn't know it was gonna go in that direction, but I don't really think it fits the mythology of Vampire Diaries that well to actually throw it in there. But it's an interesting take on it, I guess. It wasn't a one to go like I thought it was. Oh well, I put down evil good guys in question marks because I'm like, they're still bad guys, but they're trying to rid the world of people who do awful things. Kind of like Dexter. So, one thing that really bothered me is that when you get possessed, or you do things that are out of your control, usually are not aware of it, and Damon and Enzo are aware of what they're doing. And Damon has slipped off his switch because of it, because it's easier not to feel the guilt of something he can't control than try to fight it or use it against the people that he loves. So, Damon doing another thing that people probably won't notice. So we got that out of the way, and then they cut to a scene which is very Vampire Diaries-like, but at the same time, it really annoyed me. Because they do the Dear Elena thing, because Elena, of course they have to write to Elena what's going on, because the Dear Elena thing has happened since season 7, because they have to write down all their adventures for Elena. Honestly, for when she wakes up to this whole mess, if she wakes up this season, Nia Dobrev still isn't confirmed for this season. I really wish that she was, but that's her personal choice, whatever. They could still do a pretty awesome ending about her, in my opinion, but so Bonnie is over here being sad and thinking about Damon and Enzo, and here are Steven and Caroline having sex. I don't know about you, but I'm not really a huge Caroline shipper. I don't mind Steven and Caroline, but is it really necessary to have a sex scene in that particular scene? I get it. You're happy. You want to be a happy couple, but it doesn't really fit in the situation that you're in at the moment when Steven's brother is currently evil. It's supposed to be evil as shit at the moment, even though, Damon has been more evil in the past, and I really want to see more of evil Damon. Evil Damon is one of my favorite Damons. And season 1 Damon intimidates me more than this evil Damon at the moment, and I'm just over here like, what? That's not supposed to happen. Another thing that happened is that Caroline has a new nanny, and I thought it was just so funny that how after sex, Caroline is complaining about her new nanny cutting the crust off of sandwiches because apparently she wasn't want her kids to like sandwiches a specific way or whatever, and I just thought that was like such a mundane thing to be concerned about as far as nannies go. But it was a pretty nice touch, and the joke Steven made about the crust afterwards was pretty hilarious. It was a nice sterile scene. It reminds me of the sterile scenes that actually don't make me want to throw up most times. So I kind of liked that one. Another thing is that Alark is now I'm not going to say the founder of the armory, but he is now running the armory, and he has archaeologists on the case about how Damon and Enzo necessarily got out of the caves. Which I found a really interesting twist that they did. One of the very interesting things about this episode, because for me it was kind of boring. Honestly. Not very good for a final episode of a final season. But I liked the fact that they couldn't find this hidden door to the tunnels unless their senses were completely shot and all they could do was touch and feel the wall. It was an optical illusion, which I actually found to be a pretty cool thing. So I'm wondering how the hell this is happening when it's happening, and it's really cool, actually. It's a pretty nice touch. Because we haven't really had optical illusions in the Vampire Diaries. And the way they figured it out was pretty interesting, too, because of this female archaeologist. And I think it was her sister or her cousin. She was either deaf or blind, and she couldn't find her way without touching things. And I thought that was pretty interesting, and it's very cool. Let's see. Okay, and then here's another throwback. Okay, so we have another throwback. Damon is trying to find out what to do after killing this one guy, feeding him to the creature that's down below, and he opts for reading a book, and the book he is reading is 50 Shades of Grey. Now, how this is a throwback, it's a throwback to the first season, where Damon is reading Twilight, and if people don't know, 50 Shades of Grey is actually began as a Twilight fanfiction, so it's a little hidden Easter egg. And Damon was reading it. Instead of making a snarky comment about how stupid 50 Shades of Grey was, he actually thinks 50 Shades of Grey is a good book, which I found hilarious, honestly. And, it was just, oh, jeez. Okay, one thing I read, touched up on, and I actually figured out pretty quickly was Enzo leaving clues for Bonnie, because Damon necessarily wouldn't leave clues for anyone. He's turned on his humanity, so he doesn't care. So, who's left to leave clues for Bonnie and Steven to find Enzo? So, Enzo is leaving Bonnie and Steven these clues. Clues like on the body, where there is wax in the ears and the guitar string, kind of like symbolism that, hey, it's a guitar, she got strangled by a guitar string. That is Enzo, obviously, because Enzo taught Bonnie how to play guitar. We had a symbolism with the broken guitar right there. Right there, and we had the symbolism with the earwax and this tale or story that Bonnie and Enzo is actually reading to Bonnie, which is another thing I'm gonna discuss how it fits in there. But I liked that one. And with someone, I forgot what the name was. I know they actually mentioned the name of the girl from the armory who escaped, but she comes back. Like, we're at the scene where Caroline is trying to figure out what she's saying, and she's actually in Caroline's house right now. She slits Caroline's nanny's throat, which I'm all like, you know what? If you're involved with vampires, that's bound to happen. You're bound to get killed eventually, if you're human. And then, she goes up, and she's trying to get a hold of Caroline's kids. And I start thinking that maybe, just maybe, Caroline's kids are sorry, there's people walking, and it's distracting, because my apartment complex, I'm by a window, but this girl's after Caroline's kids, and I'm starting to think that Caroline's kids may have powers enough to stop Sybil from what she's doing to Damon and Enzo. So Caroline's kids are going to be a major part of the storyline. So she's going up and she's trying to kill Caroline's kids. And one of the scenes I actually really love is Caroline goes full on Mama Bear mode. The girl is right next to a mirror, and Caroline just smacks her head against the mirror, throws her down on the floor, and goes to check on her kids and says, "Don't move. Mom's gotta take care of something," really fast. And it was just nice to see Caroline actually still being involved in the twins' lives, even though now she's with Steven instead of a lark. And, I like that they didn't just automatically cut out Lizzie and Josette and Josie. I like that they're actually a part of the season still, because they're really cute kids. It's kind of like, okay, so Steven figures out that there is a slaughterhouse by where the crime scene is, and he figures out via clues where Damon and Enzo have been hiding with Sybil, and he goes to see it. Another throwback is he's looking for Damon, and the first line out of Damon's mouth is "Hello, brother." Now, this "hello, brother" kind of disappointed me, because whenever Damon did it the first time, there was just like a whole bunch of sexual oomph to it. There was, oh my god, panty dropping voices, and this one seemed like Ian Somerhalder just didn't put any effort into it, which really disappointed me. Like, I know he's devoid of any of his basic human emotion, but come on, put a little bit of emotion into it, Damon. I think it was just a little bit off for Ian Somerhalder at that "hello, brother" moment. Let's see, Caroline's kids are connected in all this. I've already discussed that they're probably going to be a huge part of this thing. Okay, so we cut back to Damon and Steven, and they're talking about what Damon's been doing, and Steven wants to help Damon. Of course he wants to help Damon, and Steven does the thing of mentioning Elena to Damon, and Damon's all like, "I just don't care about her anymore. I don't know why you would think I would." And that just, broke my heart a little bit. because I'm a huge Elena shipper, but I kind of get it. Damon wants her to live a life that doesn't involve him and all his shenanigans, and I kind of get that. Honestly, it's kind of the way Ian Somerhalder kind of wanted to go the storyline, so I'm guessing they might erase Elena's memory after all this. Who knows? Who knows what they're gonna go with. Either way, I heard it's gonna be a sad, bittersweet ending, but, that's just from the internet. I put Devin for life because of the really sad scene where it's like, come on. I put Devin for life because there was this really sad scene between Bonnie, Damon, Enzo, and Steven where Damon is trying to kill Bonnie if Steven doesn't get out of there, and Enzo just doesn't really care about it. He's all like, whatever, you just need to get out, you need to leave us alone, you need to let us do our own thing and be evil because you can't save us. And then Damien hits really hard where it hurts Steven, and it really sucks for Steven, and I almost cried for Steven during this part, and I never cry for Steven because I never really felt sorry for Steven, but Steven basically says, I'm trying to save your life here, and Damon basically says that his life ended like 1,000 years ago before he forced him into a life he didn't want. And that really hurt. I know Steven just wanted to still have his brother, and that was that really hit in the feels, because it goes back to the fact that Damon never really wanted to be a vampire to begin with, which is another throwback. And of course, Steven thinks that Damon still blames him for all these years and all that he's going through. And of course, Damon has flipped the switch, so usually Damon is very nasty when he flips the switch, as is everyone else who flips their switch. So of course they don't mean the things they say, but there is a little hint of truth to them. And then Bonnie figures out later that Enzo has been giving her clues. To what exactly Sybil is because he read her this tale, and I can't remember what the tale was. I've heard about it before, but apparently it was one about sirens. So Bonnie figures out what the evil creature that has a hold of Enzo and Damon is, and it's sirens. And I'm just over here going like, sirens? Really? Really, how does that fit into the Vampire Diaries? And I thought that they were... I just really want a background story on how Sybil got into the Armory's vault to begin with, because usually sirens are in the sea and other stuff, and I get that they're in Virginia, and Virginia does have an ocean and stuff, so I'm guessing that's where she comes from, but I'm not 100% sure about that. And then another reason why Damon flipped his switch, I feel like he flipped his switch to save Elena, because Sybil could still hurt Elena, or force Damon to hurt Elena, because she's in a coffin. All he has to really do is burn the body, like we thought he did in season 7, and that would be the end of Elena. So he's trying to keep that hidden from her, and there's a part where either Steven or Bonnie says that, actually I think it's Steven that's writing to Elena, and says that he really hopes that Damon is holding on to something deep down inside, and he is holding on to something. He's holding on to Elena, because we go back to this really shaky cutscene where they just added things into it from when Damon and Elena first met, which is another throwback to Delana first meeting. But this time I forgot what she said, but he's all like, I'm barely holding on. He tells her, you need to come back because I'm barely holding on without you. And I'm all like, Delana fandom. So this is getting me thinking, is Nina Brev really gonna come back as Elena? Because I sure hope so, because it would give us a lot of closure on the Delana thing, even if he just sends her away to live a happy, normal human life, it's still closure. And as long as she doesn't end up with Steven, I'm fine. Honestly. Okay, so we go back to the Sirens thing, and from what I know about Sirens mythology is that sirens are basically creatures of the sea that lure sailors to their death with their song. So Sybil comes out of after being fed, Sybil comes out of the water, and of course, being the vampire daughter, she has to be really fucking hot when she comes out, and I'm like thinking, why do all these villains have to be hot? I kind of like the creature idea for Sybil because it was something new and refreshing, and it was a different take on a villain, but they decided to make her a character, and it's a character, I know, which is why I fit the Unreal into it, because of who the person who plays Sybil actually is, which I got a good chuckle out of the person who plays Sybil. So my final thoughts on it is that it was a disappointing first episode because it didn't really reach up to the expectations I had for it. It was really boring at some parts, and I'm just like, can we please have something happen, even though multiple things happened, and I know they're just establishing a basis and structure for this season. I get that. They only have 16 episodes, so they have to smush as much information dumping on us as possible, but why do they have to do that? And this has actually got me into thinking of exploring the mythology of sirens, mostly because, Sybil is a siren, and how did Enzo and Damon know she was a siren if she's possessing him? Then for it, I really have no clue. No clue how, whatever. This one made me laugh. So the girl who plays Sybil, if any of you have seen the show Unreal on Lifetime, I really got a chuckle on it, because the girl who plays Sybil is Grace from Unreal Season 1, and Grace was the model chick in Season 1, and I just got a real chuckle out of that. I'm like, I know this chick from somewhere, I gotta look it up, and then I realized she's Grace from Unreal, and I just burst out laughing because of inside jokes and whatnot that I'm not gonna spoil for people who haven't seen Unreal. Another thing that I didn't really like about the first episode is that it focused too much on these little tiny snippets of putting these little tiny snippets of past episodes in that didn't really flow out very well. Well, to me, it was nice, don't get me wrong, and as a major Vampire Diaries fan, I did notice all the tiny little connections they had to the past seasons, but whenever most of it's just kind of like an homage to your past seasons, it left little room for a true development of the 8th season, which we deserve. We deserve as much as we could get out of these final 16 episodes that we have for the Vampire Diaries. Diaries, like, sure, I want little snippets every now and again from past seasons. Past seasons, like the one that I'm about to mention, that I really appreciate because I'm a fan, so I know what they're actually doing here, but it's like, don't have a lot of them in an episode to where it's kind of like, oh, well, we're just like rerouting the first season. I do appreciate that they are trying a new thing with the mythology of sirens. Like, let's make this as far out there as possible for the end season. And I'm like, you know what? They could do it. It's their final season. They could do everything. But final season, like I said, could make or break a show and how people remember it. So I really hope it gets better from this point on. Like, season 7 didn't really start out that great, but it got better as it went along. And I really want this season to be epic. I really hope it is. Fingers crossed that it is. Let's see. Another thing I had a complaint about was the weird editing that was going on. It might have been my computer, but it seemed a little, correct me if I'm wrong, but did it seem a little choppy in editing in a few places to you guys? Comment down below and let me know. Because it might have been just my computer on that one when I was watching the episode. Another thing that I really didn't like is how the cast seemed like they just didn't want to be there anymore. It seems like their acting has gone a little bit worse, and they didn't give the best performances that they could. All of them were kind of just like not vivid and lively in the way they're acting. Kind of like, oh, it's the final season, we want to get it over with. But you gotta understand, you have fans that are relying on you to make this final season great. So if you could push through for all us fans, and top off the end of the Vampire Diaries really well, like a lot of people who do the final season can do, I would really appreciate that, because I'm a major fan of this series. I know these guys could act, and this acting wasn't horrid or horrendous by any means. It was just really disappointing to me. So I'm gonna end this up on a good note. And say that I really do appreciate this major throwback that they're doing, because if you guys are big on episode titles, like I am, you know that the episode titles usually mean something, and for this season, for the final season, they're actually taking quotes from the Vampire Diaries and putting them as episode titles. Like, this one was called Hello Brother, and that was Damon's first line in season 1, and maybe they'll incorporate the lines somewhere in the episode, which I'll really appreciate as a major Vampire Diaries fan. But I didn't know if a lot of you have noticed that this is a really majorly cool homage to a Vampire Diaries fan that literally breathe lyrics in like they're everything. I really hope that you want a love that consumes you. It's one of them. I doubt it's gonna be a title, but I really want it to be a title. I know the next episode is titled Today Will Be Different, which is an Elena quote, and I know the third episode of the season is You Decided That I Was Worth Saving, which I think is a Damon quote. I know there is a new title for the fourth one, but I gotta look up who said it, because I can't remember who said it, and I can't remember the quote off the top of my head at the moment, but I really do appreciate that. So if I had to rate this episode, I would rate it a 6 out of 10. It wasn't horrible, and it wasn't exciting by any means, but there wasn't very much going on in it for me to really get interested and invested in this season. And I really need to be invested in this season, because for me, what I'm doing is I'm trying to stay away from spoilers, synopsises of the next episode. I've even skipped the next because I totally want the next episode and all the jokes to be a surprise for me. I want this final season to be a real final season. I want to end up off not knowing what's gonna happen on Vampire Diaries through sneak peeks, through spoilers, through reviews, or anything. So what are your guys' thoughts on the final season? And do you have any future predictions on what's gonna happen? Comment down below and let me know, and I will see you guys next Saturday for another review. Bye!